Good morning, my collective community. I am your girl, Two Claps Oracle. First and foremost, I want to say thank you guys for the Cash App donations. Y'all just continuously do it. And I must have some women and some men on this TikTok platform that got a whole bunch of money because y'all do not play about the donations y'all send. And I love y'all, okay? And y'all, I love the TikTok donations on my Cash App. My PayPal is the same as my TikTok name. I thank y'all so much. Y'all are motivating me to just keep going because I'm not doing one-on-one readings. I'm just no longer doing that anymore. I just don't feel like it. It takes too much energy, and I don't like people having direct connection to my energy because people try to get readings for the wrong reasons and I'm not interested in it. And I could just tell as soon as they send me the money or they try to email me, girl, get the fuck on. Anyway, yeah, and I love any gifts you guys can get me from my TikTok wish list. Link is in my bio. I appreciate that so much because I'm a girl that loves robes. I'm a robe type of girl. I'm a different type of fashionista. I like that goddess boho look. But let me just tell y'all something. I'm going to get right into this topic before I forget it because on my Facebook page, hit the link in bio and you can follow me on Facebook. I was talking to my Facebook tribe telling them that you need to be the main character in your life. So I want to do that reading today because I think somebody needs to hear it and I think it's going to free them. So today's reading is called You Need to Be the Main Character in Your Movie. Yes, ma'am. You need to be the main character in your movie. In the movie, the stage is this thing called life. So let me tell you how God works, right? Human beings are God's highest form of creation. We are the most intelligent. We are the ones that create. We are the ones that's innovative. And we are also the biggest parasite to this earth as well, right? So it's like a catch-22. So God created these functioning, amazing fuck-uppers or fucker-uppers. Yeah, we fuck up a lot, right? But anyway, we are the highest form of creation. We are all individually on this earth as an individual. We have this big old platform, this stage, and it's called Earth. And if we all get in a cohesive vibration, all of us could manifest even more astronomical things than we have already done. But the thing is, we have so many people not living the life that they're supposed to live. We have so many people too insecure and too envious of other people to follow their own path that everybody's frequency is just all messed up and is discombobulated. And we're spending so much time trying to undo the foundational programming that our parents taught us and the world and the media has taught us inappropriately, right? So what happens is you are not even living your movie because you have to get out of the paradigm and you have to get out of the foundational conditioning just to get on your path of least resistance. See, the hardest part for most of us as human beings is getting one with the human body, understanding that is a physical thing that God gifted us, and getting that into alignment with the spirit. Once the spirit and the body begins to work as a unit, the feet will flow where the spirit says. But until then, when you're just operating out of human form, you're operating off of free will. Now, let me tell you how good God is. In your movie called life, if you get to a position of enlightenment like myself and other people who are on their spiritual journey, what ends up happening is about 75% of your life is free will. It is things that are naturally dropped in your spirit. The other percentage that equates to 100% is the script that God wrote for you. The beautiful part is God wrote you a script that's about 100 pages long for your whole life. Because those 100 pages will get you in alignment with the desires of your heart that you're going to freely vibrate to if you do the right thing. So instead of following this 100-page script, we go over here and we create our own 500-page script that has nothing to do with God's script, and then we wonder why we so fucked up. The path of least resistance is always a straight line. Now you have to understand, God's idea of a straight line is never going to be ours. But understand, our human consciousness idea of a straight line and God's infinite wisdom's idea of a straight line are never going to correlate. That's why he wants us to meet him in the middle. Meaning, here is the script and here is your free will. Now do freely as you will, but you will get my purpose done. And if you don't, we're going to keep starting over and you're going to keep having failures and disappointments until you get in alignment. So let me tell you, I'm here to tell you today, most of you can't get in alignment with your spirit because you are not the main character in the movie that God has given you. He's given you the movie to create, edit, delete, discard, produce, direct, showcase. You can do anything in this movie as long as it's in alignment with the script, the foundational script that God wrote for your life before you even touched this earth, before you even took your first breath, but you're not doing it. All you have to do to get on your path of least resistance at this point is get wise enough to put yourself as the main character. Because a lot of you don't even understand that you've been a co-star in your own movie. And it happens because of childhood. Somebody's parents or your siblings or your friends, you were conditioned to always put other people's needs ahead of yours. We're not doing that no more. Get somebody else to do it. Somebody out there, you are always putting people ahead of you. And even when you get on the path to start living your best life, somebody comes and distracts you. Let's see how it started. Let's go right back to your past card. You were always in the wild winds. What do I mean by the wild winds? Spirit is telling me that you were always hanging around people that had wild spirituality and wild mentalities when it came to their life. See, you've always known what you wanted to do since you were a kid. But when you said what you wanted to do, because nobody in your family had ever done the things that you've done, they tried to say that you were crazy. They tried to say that you could never do it. They tried to discourage you. So if you said you wanted to be a lawyer one day, they said, well, no, why don't you just go be a CNA? So you put off your dreams. You said you wanted to be an athlete. And they said, well, how you going to be an athlete? You know, nobody's athletic. You got flat feet, whatever. Everything that you wanted to do since you were a child, they tried to detour you. A lot of you are going with these wild spirits, their idea of what your life should be. See, your mama don't want you to go off and be independent. Want to know why? Because she's getting older and she always knew that. She knew that she wasn't never going to be able to make as much money as you. She knew that she was never going to get married. She knew that she could never do half the things you did. So she tried to hold on to you for her selfish agenda. Why? Because she always knew she was going to end up alone. She always knew that her marriage wasn't going anywhere. So she didn't want you to go out in the world and begin to be who you are, because she knew that if you got on the path of least resistance to be successful, you wouldn't have a lot of time to donate to her bullshit every time she called you. You wouldn't have time to give her money every time she needed. You wouldn't have time to sit up there and listen to her talk about her family members, your siblings, your daddy, your sisters, your brother. You wouldn't have time to be an emotional partner to your mother. She's put you in that position since you were a child, and you just want to break away, but you don't know how. Let me tell you, your mother programmed you since you were a child to either be dependent on her, to be reliant on her, or to be scared of chasing your own dreams, because her selfish agenda never wanted you to go too far, because her biggest fear is being alone and abandoned. Not understanding that all the shit that she's done to people that loved her and all the shit that she's done and said to people that were sent to help her, she pushed them away herself. Once they figured out who she really was, once they figured out that she was a liar, once they figured out that she would throw her own kids to the wolves to save herself, once they figured out that it was all about money, once they figured out that she was verbally, emotionally, and physically abusive, nobody wanted to deal with her. But because she made you so dependent, and she probably stressed the Bible of you honoring your mother so your days can be long, you can't even get started with your movie, because your entire movie, since your childhood, you have been the co-star to someone else. Your mother wanted you to be the co-star to her movie. So she took over your movie. But what she didn't understand was, subconsciously, since she taught you to be that way, you're that way in every relationship. So she's upset because you are the co-star to other people, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your friends, your coaches, your teachers. You are the co-star to everybody that you come in contact with. You have to save them. You have to allow them to treat you any way, kind of way. You can't turn your back on them. And she's upset because she programmed you to be the co-star in her movie for your life, and subconsciously you're the co-star in everybody's movie. And she's not mad because she feels like you're being ran over. She's mad because she only wanted you for herself. Well, get somebody else to do it. That was your past. Now, how do we get to this present moment? The present moment is God is pulling you to the spirit of the West. He's pulling you off that straight line narrative. He's actually pulling you horizontally now. Why? Because if you stay on the path that your mother and your father foundationally set for you, or your family set for you, you're never going to get where you need to go. So God is going to extend you a job, a friendship, a possibility to move, and you need to go quickly. Go with the first answer that comes to your mind. If you get a raise, if you get a job, if you have a friend that says they want to move, if you have a man or a woman that you love and they want to get married, or you have a child coming, or it's time for you to move, you have to get away from all of those supporting cast members. The only way that you're going to break your Foundational programming is if you allow God to pull you in another direction. See, if you're pulled in another direction, if you're out of sight, you're out of mind. You can't cater to your mom all the time. Some of you will never be able to break away from your parents completely, or your siblings or your family completely. But if you live in another state, all they can do is call you on the phone. And all you got to do is not answer it and tell them you'll call them back when you're done doing whatever it is you're doing. Most of you have to change location. Why are you allowing yourself to be a co-star in other people's movie and you haven't even started your own? You haven't even looked at the script. For the last couple of years, for your teens and your 20s, and if you're 30, your 20s and 30s, you're going to spend your time trying to undo the programming that was sent to you. If you got married too early, you had kids too early, then you're going to have to be a supporting co-star for a while. But you need to understand that your life in your movie is yours. You need to find a way to be the best character that you can be in your own movie, and then everybody around you needs to have a role where they are your co-star. See, when you go to the Oscars, there are a plethora of categories. You can get an Oscar for the main character role, the leading role. But there are also subcategories for the co-star, for the musician's thing, right? For the best writer, for the best film. There are different categories for a reason. Why? Because if you are the main character in your movie and you're doing it the right way, you're going to have people around you to assist in the film called your life. If they assist you properly, everybody wins. What I mean by that is the great Angela Bassett, she didn't win her Oscar for What Love Got to Do with It and this past 2023 Oscars, right? But guess what? She's been at the stage to receive an Oscar twice. The reason she was at the table and on the stage to receive an Oscar twice is because she understands the importance of dominating and being a wonderful leading character, main character. You don't get nominated for an Oscar if you're not that good. She's that good. It's very seldom that you have ever seen Angela Bassett play a co-star position. Even when she's the co-star, she's the most memorable person in the film. Why? Because whoever is designing her, so let's just say the executive producers and the directors would play God in the film industry, right? They are smart enough to give a woman like Angela Bassett the role. And they pull her in the direction that she needs to go. And she dominates the role every time. It's always a stellar performance because she's a leading lady. She is a main character. All the people around her, from Michael B. Jordan to people like Tyler Perry, to people like God, what is that lady's name that played her mama and What Love Got to Do with It? She's right here on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, I think her name is what? No. Well, whatever, y'all. Y'all get the point that I'm making. So everybody knows that she's the main character. The movies are great because she has co-stars that are equally, or if not, better in this particular field. What happens is God is pulling you in another direction because he's going to force you to be the main character of your life. You are allowing people to put you in a co-starring position in your own life. You have to leave your film and go focus on their drama and help them and speak life back into them and be their emotional dump. You have to go over there and be a co-star to somebody else's film, and they are not even the main character in their own film because nothing but negativity leads their movie. You need to allow spirit to pull you in the right direction. Why? This goes into the future card. If you do everything right, you're going to start to gather all of your blessings. You're going to start to gather co-stars around you in this thing called life. See, let me tell you what happens. A movie is roughly between an hour to 3 hours, depending on the kind of film it is, right? Life is over and nobody knows. Life begins and nobody knows. You're just here one day and then you're not. The Oscars would be the equivalent of heaven. So when you go up to the Oscar board, which will be God and God alone, and he asks you to show him his movie, show him the movie that you created for him to present to him to get to the next level, which equates to heaven, he's going to hit play. And the worst thing you could do is show God a movie where you were the co-star in other people's movies that have failed. After he watched the movie, you're not going to get a well done. He's going to rewind the tape and take you through every single movie that you were a co-star in and say, why didn't you take that out when I gave it to you right here? Why didn't you take that out when I gave it to you right here? He's always giving us exit strategies to things that he no longer wants us with, but we will act like we don't see what he's saying and we won't take the exit because we are afraid. On the other side of fear is your Oscar in this movie called life. See, the worst thing you could do is spend your 20s and your 30s not participating in your movie. I started my movie in my late 20s when I put myself first, when I found out I was pregnant with my daughter. If you have not been making yourself the main character by the time you are 30, you would hate to start chapter 1 in your 40s. That's the worst thing you could do. So today's message is make sure you are getting yourself in position to be the main character in your movie. Because when you're the main character in your movie, all of the co-stars will genuinely vibrate to you. Because at the end of the day, when this is all said and done, your final production that is going to be shown to God is going to be the difference between you having to do a redo in this world or you moving past to the realm of heaven with your Oscar in this movie called Life. All right, y'all. I love y'all. Move on, move strong.